let's get into this review for LA Noire. So, how do we start? What's this? How do you start video game reviews? LA Noire tells the story of a traffic cop or a patrol cop and his, I guess, evolution into a homicide detective, or I would call that, well, his evolution to a homicide detective, and then his devolution into back into a what was he, narcotics officer, which is a demotion, and just shows the progression of this guy. You basically this one guy, what's his name?
Colt Phelps.
Colt Phelps. Colt Phelps. And they also backstories of him in the war and everything. And every time I have to admit this, like I remember playing the game. Now, this is going to go straight into the game. I'm not going to talk about the story. The story is a good story. You have to play it out to know everything. But every time I talk about this game, I have two different feelings. I said this the last time we recorded this. I said that the first time I recorded this, I remember not being satisfied with the ending and kind of feeling like the game did not live up to the hype. But now, like I did the first time we reviewed this, when I talk about it, I am reliving the great stories and things that the game had to offer while you're playing to get to the next story. Yeah, it lacks in the sense that there's no free roaming aspect. It's a sandbox, but not really, because you can't do anything. You can't kill people on the street even if you're a cop. You can't pull like a Big Mackey. You have to fucking be a good cop. You hit people and say, oh, you could deduct points, but they don't deduct. Well, they deduct points if you're on a mission, but besides that,
you could literally whip out a Big Mac, and that'd be fine too.
Yeah, well. But you can't even pull out guns. That's the problem with this game. That's one main problem. But besides, that's the major problem I have. There's no internet capabilities. There are downloadable contents, which I should download. There's a new game called Reefer Madness. I want to add that and play that. But there's a lot of things lacking from this game. But then again, every time I think about the game and I relive the first experience playing the game, I had so much fun. The game lasted a very long time. And it was a very entertaining. And I believe, I said this last time, that the game really picked up for me when it was the first homicide case where...
Yeah, kind of after the Black Dahlia murder, right?
Yeah, after the Black Dahlia murder, or like the copycat murders. Once it was the final escalation. It was all the Dahlia murders or whatever, and then it was the escalation to finding the guy. That was great because you had to actually go... You were not told what to do. You did not have to interview people. You were like screwed, and you're like, oh shit, now I gotta go...
Yeah. Some cool moments where there were clues where you had to go to different locations and find these these clues that the guy that would leave you to his location.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was I like that aspect. I like that was the point where I said this game is really good, and then it got better as it progressed. And then at the end, it was kind of like mixed bag of nuts, if I could say. It just didn't make sense because then you start playing as a different character, which you kind of start liking, but there's a lot of things added into this because besides you're having flashbacks because you were part of the war. You were in Japan, you were in Hiroshima, you were fighting the Japanese, you relived those in flashback scenes. And there's a lot of other things that this game has to offer besides the storyline. There's also reels to find, which I haven't found. There's a lot of other in-game things that I have not achieved yet, and I've not accomplished, but it's in the game.
Yeah, that's just all there to keep you more occupied with with driving around and doing it, which I didn't really like doing that much. Most of the time I would have my partner drive me to locations because the driving in the game is not perfect. It's just, but I do like that a lot of people in that game have good reflexes. They just jump out of the way as you're driving towards them. Like, damn.
No, I think the facial, what's the word? I'm not a really game.
Or the motion capture for the facial animation
stuff that they use is really cool. Like they have Peter Gunsberg from Heroes and Lost. He was in the first episode of Lost, and then he was no longer on the show. But Peter Gunsberg, he does a character in there, which I let him go because he was supposedly murdered his wife, and there was a lot of clues saying he murdered his wife. But then there was another guy who was a pedophile, and it was documented that he was a previous pedophile. And because my partner kind of agreed, it was kind of like, yeah, fuck that pedophile. I don't care about the other guy. Let's just get this bitch. And it didn't matter. Like, I didn't get as much points, and that guy went to jail when I probably could have solved the case with the other guy. But I put that guy with just because he was a pedophile. I didn't like that's personal preference, but There's many different scenarios. That's a good thing about the game as well.
Yeah,
You do not have.
I
Yeah.
told you on the last recorder we did that with that the Greg Gumberg case where I think it was weird because I know what you're talking about how they're like, oh, this guy is not too important. Let's get this fucking pedophile. Let's get him, even though he probably didn't do it. But and there are a lot of instances like that where you kind of have to convict the guy that you do kind of agree that is not the guy, but you gotta have to do it just for the sake of doing it. And especially with that case, I was telling you on the last recording that I guess I interviewed him last, and then no, I interviewed him first, Greg Gumberg character, and then I interviewed the pedophile guy, and then when I walked out to go and convict the Greg Gumberg guy, he runs out of the police station for some weird reason.
You told me that didn't happen to me. I did not. I mean, I think that did happen. I don't even remember. It was so long ago. It might have happened, but I don't think I really remember. After I interviewed the pedophile first, he made a valid case. Then I went to Gunsberg and knew he might be lying. And at the end, I listened to the partner who was like, "This guy's a pedophile or a child molester." So I was like, "Fuck that guy." That was the end of it. I was like, "Fuck him." I don't care. That guy's also an actor. That's another cool thing. They actually got some real actors. You could tell by some of their facial expressions that these are popular actors. The guy who plays the pedophile is a popular actor too. Don't know his name, but I know I've seen him before in movies. That's the cool thing. Like you actually have seen these guys before. So
it is cool that they went all out to get some pretty not I don't know, not sure too well known actors, but they can act. And I think that's what kind of helps the game as well. If I think if the acting wasn't if it wasn't as good as it was in actuality, I think it would be some parts in the game would be kind of hard to tell whether the guy's lying or not. It's just be terrible acting. It's like, I don't know, this guy's a shitty actor. I can't tell if he's lying or not.
That's how I knew sometimes I was doing good, was when people were making facial expressions that were so obvious. I was like, okay, he's lying. Oh, he's not lying. Then at some parts it got hard. It was like, oh, I can't tell. There was one guy I think he got away. I tried and I tried and I tried in every which scenario. I could not find anything. I even went online and I guess I downloaded this mission before it was up, so I couldn't even find it. And every which question I asked, no matter how I asked it, and I'm a person that if I get it wrong, I'm going to stop, restart, and go again. One time where I got fucked because I didn't know how to do it at the beginning. I was following a guy, asking him about the guy who pretended to be dead so he could be with his girlfriend. Yeah, so I ended it. I turned off the computer. And then when I came back, I had to start the whole fucking mission over. I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't get myself too frustrated with it. I just went along with it. If I did get some of them wrong, like even like 2 questions, I was like, shit, fuck. I was like, all right, I'll continue. But I think regardless if you do end up messing up, you still continue on. I don't think it affects the story. It might affect the case that you did. It might have a different ending or outcome to it, but it doesn't affect the overall story of it. So yeah, I mean, there's some good things and bad things about it, but I think most of the good balances it out. If you're a really good fan, if you're a big fan of the detective genre, it's a game to pick up. You did a lot of good things.
Beyond a doubt. I mean, okay, I'm a fan of Law and Order, Criminal Intent, and Law and Order SVU. Even probably not really so much the original Law and Order because I don't like how it's always half hour. Half hour cops, half hour law. I don't like that. I like the Criminal Intent because it fluctuates, and SVU because they mostly work together throughout the entire fucking thing, which I think is awesome. So I'm also a fan of serial killers and true crime things. That's what I love. I love drama. I love real gangsters. All these biopic movies and stuff like that. I love. So a game like this was like my cup of tea. And that's the thing, that this game is, I said this the last time, this game is a weird game because when you play the game and after you end the game, you might have a different feeling than you do when you think about it afterwards. Because this game does put a smile on my face when I think about it after. And after I played the game, I was kind of like, it didn't live to the hype. I was like, it wasn't that good. I'm kind of putting it down. And then every time we talk about it, or the last time and this time, I always come back to the fact that it was a really cool, interesting game and I actually enjoy it. I highly enjoyed it. I do not think it lives up to the expectation because I think they could have done a lot more. I think they could have done the sandbox Red Dead Redemption type because Red Dead is by far my favorite game that Rockstar has done since Grand Theft Auto 3. Because of Grand Theft Auto 3, I was a kid. 4 was cool. It was the same thing. But Red Dead was so cool and unique in the sense that it was a Western. It was a great story. It was a long fucking game. And then they did the Red Dead Undead Nightmare, which was amazing on top of that. So I have to say, like, this could. I mean, I know it wasn't the exact carbon copy. It's a Rockstar game. I guess I already had that embedded in my head that it should be a sandbox type of world where you can do anything. And it wasn't, and the controls are so different. I mean, I tried to play it recently after I played. I know it's after I played LA Noire. I tried to play Red Dead, and my controls were all fucked up. I couldn't play. And then you're like, let's play it. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, no, because I'm gonna suck dick. I don't want to play. So I try to play by myself, and then because But I think it lacks in the sense that it could be better. It should have online features. Hopefully, they're gonna have more downloadable content. I hope they have an extended, alternate ending or something where they continue the story. They think they should. I hope they do, but I think without those little minor things, it's just not that big of a deal. I mean, after you beat the game, it's kind of like, what else am I going to do with this?
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Yeah.
It's like I had a hard time replaying some of the missions because because it's cool. It kind of the first time you play it, it's really good. I think it's good for a one-time play. In my opinion, it's hard to go back and replay a mission. If you fucked up on a mission, then maybe it's good to go back on it. But if it's something that you nailed and it's not really too much suspense in it, some of it is lost because the if you're gonna doubt or lie or hit those buttons, then you know what to expect. The gameplay could have been better. I could say that.
The online stuff. I mean,
I don't know about that because I think the game was kind of intended to be a single player stuff.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I think